Hello guys, welcome to the channel in TCP IP again. I welcome you all in today's lecture. Today we are going to discuss the two topics where first topic will be similarities of OSI and TCP layer modeling and second will be differences of OSI and TCP model. Let's look the first topic, the similarities of the OSI and TCP model. As we know that both the models are communication models, are standard communication models. There are a lot of similarities are available, but apart from similarities, there are differences too. But first, we will discuss about the similarities. Let's take the first one. Here, both the models are logical models, and both define the standard for networking. Second would be both models provide a framework for creating and implementing a networking standard and devices. Third will be both divide the network communication process in layer. That is what we know that both the architectures are layered perspective architecture. That in both the models, the single layer defines the particular functionalities and set standards for that functionalities only. That is similar functionalities. So every layers have their own different services are available. Apart from this, both the models allow a manufacturer to make device and network components that can coexist and work with the device and components made by the other manufacturers. So it is what the kind of, let's say there is no any restriction that the vendor have developed this device and this is not going to work for the others one. So it is going to be a kind of thing that if one is developing, the other is going to be supported. Both the models simplify troubleshooting process by dividing complex functions into simpler components. Next would be instead of defining the already defining standard and protocols, both models reference them. So if the things are already developed, the already developed things are going to be reused, I can say. For example, the Ethernet standard were already defined by IEEE before creation of this model. So instead of defining them again, both the models use the IEEE Ethernet standards. And the last similarity will be, we can say the both are a protocol stack, their own protocol stacks. So the similarities not matter a lot, but there are some slight differences between these two models, and that differences we are going to deal in today's lecture. The very first, we have divided this slide into three columns. The first column is the parameter, second will be OSI perspective, and third will be the TCP/IP protocol model perspective. My first parameters to differentiate this both the terms is long form. So OSI stands for Open System Interconnect, whereas TCP Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol. Second will be number of layers. So OSI model has seven layers, we all know, and the TCP/IP has a 4 layers. Sometimes it is going to be a 5 layers. Next parameter will be who's developed these models. So OSI model is developed by ISO, that is International Standard Organization, whereas TCP/IP is combinedly developed by DoD, Department of Defense, ARPANET, DARPA scientists. Then the next difference between use. The OSI model is rare in use because it is not implemented one, but TCP/IP mostly used in nowadays in the internet. The meaning, it is a reference model and used for the computing system only, that is standalone system. But TCP/IP it is implemented model and used in internet nowadays. Next will be a dependency. OSI is a generic protocol dependent standard acting as a communication gateway between the network and end users, whereas TCP/IP model is based on the standard protocol around which the internet has developed. It is a communication protocol which allows connection of host over a network. Next will be the manual. This OSI model is well documented. We all know that everything is available in the OSI model, and TCP/IP is, let's say, more about less documented. Header size. The maximum size of the OSI header is 5 bytes, but in terms of the TCP/IP, the minimum header size will be 20 bytes. Another differences are transport layer. In terms of the transport layer, in OSI model, transport layer guaranteed the delivery of packets. As we know the concept of connection oriented, so here the guarantees of delivery of packets. But in TCP/IP, TCP model is in transport. TCP model, the transport layer does not guarantee delivery of packets. Still, TCP model is more reliable. As we know that UDP protocol is there, and the UDP protocol is what we can say unreliable but very faster. That is connectionless one. Approaches. OSI model follows the vertical approach, whereas TCP model follows the horizontal approach, where Horizontal approach is that a kind of things there is no intermediate node between transport layer or above layers. Separation of layer. OSI model has a separate presentation layer and session layer. Apart from that, but a TCP IP does not have a separate presentation and session layer. Also in that application layer is also combined, and that is the further we'll discuss. The transport layer. Transport layer is connection oriented in the OSI model, whereas transport layer is connection oriented as well as connection less. About the networking layer. Network layer is both connection oriented and connection less in terms of the OSI model, but where in TCP, the connection less, that is network layer is a connection less. Next difference will be on the basis of coupling. All the layers are strictly combined, coupled, whereas TCP/IP loosely coupled or loosely layered, we can say. Another difference is the nature of model. The OSI is reference model around which the network are built. Generally, it is used as a guidance tool. But your TCP/IP model is in the way implementation of the OSI model. So it is going to be general used in moreover, wherever. Internet use. OSI not used in internet, whereas TCP/IP used in internet. The problems. The OSI model has a problem of fitting the protocols into the model, whereas the TCP/IP does not fit any protocols. And protocols are hidden in OSI model and are easily replaced as the technology changes. There is a flexibility available in OSI model, but in a TCP/IP, as it is implemented model, TCP/IP replacing protocol is not easy. Clarity. The OSI model defines services, interfaces, and protocols very clearly and makes clear distinction between them. It is a protocol independent. Whereas the TCP model, the TCP services, interface, and protocols are not clearly separated. It is okay, separated, but not clearly separated. It is also protocol dependent. Reliability is parameter. OSI is more reliable. TCP is less reliable. Still, the TCP is using in internet because the fast speed development, the model developed before protocol discovery. Here, this is the very basic difference, that the model developed before protocol discovery, whereas in TCP/IP, protocol developed first and then model built. This is what the very important concept. And the last slide was showing the diagrams of both the models, where we can see in OSI model there are the application, presentation, session, transport, network, data link layer, and physical layer. In TCP/IP, application, presentation, sessions combinedly defined as the application layer, whereas transport layer is as it is. Network layer is called as the internet layer in the TCP model, whereas data link layer and physical layer are called as network access layer in this model. So thank you guys.